Well, new names like Marco Rubio are being put up for some of Donald Trump's cabinet picks, and not just any pick, some of the most important positions. So here's the question. Are these bold new moves about reshaping foreign policy, or is this the establishment making a power grab to drag us back to the old way? I'm Ben Swan. This is Truth in Media.
There is no way we are going to allow a con artist to take over the conservative movement, and Donald Trump is a con artist.
Little Marco Rubio, you remember him. That was him back in 2016, talking about Donald Trump. And he's basically hated Donald Trump for years, but now Rubio is expected to become President-elect Trump's Secretary of State, with Mike Waltz stepping in as the National Security Director. Rubio, as we all know, is a longtime senator from Florida. He famously ran against Trump in 2016. That's when he earned the nickname Little Marco. He and Trump did not get along for many years, but in his latest campaign, Rubio campaigned often for Trump. Rubio is a serious war hawk. He strongly supports Israel. He's been pushing for war with Iran, pushing hard against China. Waltz is a state representative from Florida and a former Green Beret. Now, these announcements are raising some serious eyebrows across the board with Trump's most vocal supporters, even people like RFK Jr. reportedly saying that they will push back and push for alternative options. The Trump campaign has been outspoken against war hawks and neocons like John Kelly and John Bolton in the past. Even Donald Trump Jr. was on Twitter responding to a tweet by Libertarian Dave Smith on Sunday, calling for the administration to remove neocons entirely from the cabinet. And Trump Jr. replied this, quote, "I'm on it." So if that is the case, where is this Rubio thing coming from? Why has Marco Rubio managed to slither his way not only into the orbit of Donald Trump, not only into the cabinet of Donald Trump, but potentially into one of the most important positions? It really is stunning to see it happen. Now, claims on X about how this is happening claim that Mitch McConnell is threatening to hold up Senate confirmations, pushing Trump to include a neocon like Rubio in his cabinet, and that's the price for smooth hearings. And if that is the case, and it very well may be, this is just yet another power grab by the establishment, another way of continuing to hold on to power.
We are funding a stalemate, okay? I think the Ukrainians have been incredibly brave and strong in standing up to Russia, but at the end of the day, what we are funding here is a stalemate war, and it needs to be brought to a conclusion because that country is going to be set back 100 years.
Now, there's an interesting angle there because suddenly Marco Rubio, who's been all about the war in Ukraine and against Russia, is saying it needs to be over with. And maybe that's the angle. You know, Trump is not afraid of having people in his cabinet who don't agree with him on everything. And while Rubio is hawkish on China and Iran, he has recently shifted, as you heard there, his views on Ukraine. And you know what else? Mike Waltz has done the same. So while these guys may be viewed as neocons, and they are, they might be what is necessary to deliver on what was promised, especially as Democrats aim to extend Ukraine funding for another 3 years because they're trying to do it right now before Trump takes office. J.D. Vance has already signaled that this could make diplomacy a real challenge moving forward.
The purpose of this legislation is to tie a future President Trump's hands. We're not just sending billions to Ukraine in 2024. We're trying to make it impossible for the next president to conduct diplomacy on his terms.
Okay, other new announcements. We're also hearing that South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is Trump's likely choice for Homeland Security Secretary. She is no stranger to Trump's inner circle. She was even floated as a potential VP pick until she wrote a book about killing her dog, and then that was over. So what's the common thread here for names like Kristi Noem and Tom Homan, who's been mentioned as the border czar, and Stephen Miller as the Deputy Chief of Staff of Policy? Well, they've all been vocal about shifting U.S. priorities, like halting aid to Ukraine and redirecting attention, resources, and funding to the border. But there is a serious warning here, because Trump was heavily and deeply undermined during his first term. Draining the swamp means pushing out anyone who aligns with the establishment. It's also why the Trump transition team with RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, who, by the way, should be Secretary of State, not Marco Rubio, and even Don Jr. need to keep their promises to voters. No neocons. I know it's tough, but it can be done. And if it's not, Trump will be fighting once again people in his own cabinet, and that is a critical mistake. And that is our show. You can catch all of our latest coverage. Check us out on X at Truth_Media and watch all of our full episodes at truthinmedia.com.